It is all in your hands. There could be sudden dissolution of the board too, if no performance indicator.
Target profit, high production and good governance in energy sector. President Tinubu tasks new board of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited.
For 10th National Assembly, we do not intend to change the tradition. We want to sustain the tradition.
Race to sustain December to January budget cycle gains momentum with submission of standing committee's reports to Appropriation Committee. And pains and gains of migrants around the world in focus as world commemorates International Migrants Day.
Celebrating the achievements, celebrating the pains they go through, and celebrating, what they give back to their home country.
Good evening and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Naja Atutijani. Michael Olaleye joins us from the Center of Excellence, Lagos. This broadcast is also being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. And do remember to follow us across all other social media handles displayed on the screen. President Bola Tinubu has directed the new board of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to prioritize welfare of the Niger Delta people and Nigerians as a whole as they target profit, high production level and good leadership in the energy sector. The President gave the directive to the newly inaugurated NNPCL board at the State House, charging them to be proactive.
Agenda targets an oil and gas sector that contributes to the nation's prosperity in a new way that it intends to achieve through plans to increase domestic oil production, harness domestic gas potential, increase indigenous participation, and ensure host community development. Here is a new vista of actualization of the dreams with the new board of directors of the NNPCL to manage the petroleum industry. But clearly, in the assertive charge of the president is the indication for a new dawn.
This is not business as usual.
In addition to the outlined objectives, the current administration is also aiming to drastically reduce oil theft, but with a humane approach, as the president wants the board to prioritize the welfare of the people of the oil-producing areas and the environment.
Niger Delta must be seen as the goose that lays the golden egg. I must treat that community with deserved respect and care. It's not asking for too much to have the entitlement of water, good schools, medical centers that is functional, good road infrastructure. It is not about us. It's about well-being of the entire country and the lifeblood of our resources.
As a guide, the president referred the board to the Petroleum Industry Act.
You better look critically at the PIA. What are the pitfalls in the PIA? The members of cabinet and your good self should sit as a team and look at what can we do differently to bring up profitability, production, high level, and good governance, which is the key performer indicator. We work with you in every way possible, but there could be sudden dissolution of the board too if no performance indicator is exceptional.
And with a forewarning, the board is seemingly raring to go with its ambitious targets, but they asked for improved security situation in the Niger Delta area.
From January to November, I think we have contributed about 4.5 trillion to FAC. We will do more. The incidences of stealing, pipeline vandalization, we know with your support, it will be a thing of the past. we can then be boasting of being able to produce 2 million barrels per day and above.
Meanwhile, the president separately received the leadership of Total Energies worldwide as he assured them that his administration is already addressing all hindrances to ease of doing business in Nigeria.
Nigeria represents for us almost 10% of our production worldwide, so it's an important commitment. In fact, we are willing to invest more. We have in our portfolio a very rich portfolio of projects, either on the gas part, to bring gas to Nigeria LNG and Train 7, or on the oil, to produce in particular deep water, and more than $6 billion of investments for the next 5 years.
The company commended the current administration for the economic policies it has implemented so far. From the State House, Musbal Dan Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as the National Assembly sustains efforts to ensure passage of the 2024 appropriation bill before the end of December, standing committees have commenced submission of reports before the Committee on Appropriation. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
As the joint committees of the Senate and House of Representatives round off budget defense engagements with the various ministries, departments and agencies of government on the 2024 proposals, activities have shifted to the Appropriations Committee, which is saddled with ensuring finishing touches to the budget before presentation to plenary for passage. The committee emphasizes the resolve of Parliament
from January 1st to December 31st of every year. And this 10th Senate or 10th National Assembly, we do not intend to change the tradition. We want to sustain the tradition. And in sustaining the tradition, we need to ensure that this budget is passed into law before the end of the year. And that is what we are working to.
There is high collaboration between the executive up initio, even when the budget was being prepared. So I think most of it will be just crossing the T's and dotting the I's and doing some arithmetic.
Some chairmen of standing committees that presented their harmonized budget reports solicited for increased capital funding to have desired impact.
Tourism cannot even make a simple hop with the amount of money allocated to it. If we want tourism to be a driving force in Nigeria, it needs a lot more funding than it's getting.
Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission should be treated as a standalone agency, having its own budget and not funded under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The committee therefore approved the insertion of 5 new line items to the capital budget.
Provision of 47 million to 4.3 billion, to me, is a quantum leap. Okay, what we need to do is to segment the capital needs into short-term and medium-term.
The exercise will hopefully be concluded before the end of this week. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And talking sustainable development for Africa to achieve sustainable development goals, inclusive economic transformation, and build resilience against economic shocks, there must be deliberate action towards leveraging the continent's natural endowments. The position of economic experts at the launch of 2 key reports at United Nations House in Abuja. Chukunonson Mwapweze has the details.
The aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war, as well as challenges of climate change, are no doubt of huge impact on the economies of African countries. This launch, however, of the 2023 Economic Report on Africa, as well as the Africa Sustainable Development Report by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, focuses on building the continent's resilience to global economic shocks and the full implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and African Union Agenda 2063 at all levels.
Right figures tell us that Africa's economic growth rate declined to minus 1.8%. This is the way we looked at how COVID-19 impacted African economies.
I believe that the report will serve to tool us all further to prepare for economic shocks and untether us further from the volatilities of being commodity-based economies, even as we continue to diversify our economy away from primary product focus to achieve more resilience.
Given the external nature and depth of this poly-crisis, growth and fiscal space in many African countries remains constrained. Combined with an overstretched resource envelope to mitigate COVID-19, low productivity in agriculture, persistent trade barriers in the region, financing for recovery has become increasingly difficult.
Development planning and good governance, structural transformation through smart industrial policies, enhancing global cooperation as well as maximizing advantages of regional initiatives are some of the recommendations of the reports. Chukunon Sonwabweze, NTA News.
Now to election matters. The Court of Appeals sitting in Abuja has upheld the election of Ahmadu Fintiri as the governor of Adamawa State. The three-man panel of justices affirmed the judgment of the Adamawa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, declaring Ahmadu Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party as the validly elected governor of Adamawa State. Omenka Amarachuku completes the report.
This matter is an appeal challenging the verdict of the Adamawa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, which upheld election of Ahmadu Fintiri as governor of the state. Binani, in a petition which held INEC, Governor Fintiri, and People's Democratic Party (PDP) as the first, second, and third respondents, asked the Adamawa Governorship Election Petition Tribunal to annul the governorship election over alleged non-compliance with the Electoral Act. The tribunal, however, dismissed the petition brought by Binani on grounds that the petitioner failed to establish the allegations of non-compliance with the Electoral Act 2022 and prove their case with satisfactory evidence. The appellate court, however, dismissed the appeal for lack of merit.
That the issues were clearly identified and addressed by the court in its judgment. So both on the technical level and on the merits, it is our humble view that this court has done justice to the petition that was submitted by the Court of Appeal.
Study the judgment, and upon study of judgment, we are going to get advice from our lawyers and see what our next possible line of action we want to take about the judgment.
INEC had on April 18 declared Governor Fintiri the winner of the Adamawa governorship election after a supplementary election was held to conclude the governorship election, which was initially declared inconclusive. In Abuja, Umeka Mrajuku, NTA News.
Today, the world celebrates International Migrants' Day, set aside by the United Nations for countries to reflect on the pains, gains, and contributions of millions of migrants around the world. Joining the commemoration, the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons took to the streets to raise awareness and also celebrate migrants. Ruth Aguele reports.
A walk to take action, with symbolic steps to demonstrate commitment and resilience in the quest to end irregular migration, to raise the bar and leverage the potential of migration as drivers for sustainable development. This campaign is organized by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons to commemorate the International Migrants' Day, to bridge the gaps as thousands of young people are continually caught in the web of perilous journeys in search of greener pastures.
Celebrating their achievements, celebrating the pains they go through, and celebrating, what they give back to their home country. And so we are telling them it's your right to migrate. However, you should migrate regularly.
That is to say, you need to ensure that documentation towards your movement are properly documented so that you can move to wherever you want to move to, since migration is a human right.
With the theme, Leveraging Youth Migration for National Development, the Jakpa Syndrome, the advocacy tends to promote equal and inclusive partnerships with migrants while exploring the dynamics of internal migration and mobility. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Now let's bring in an expert to talk about this JAPA syndrome. Migrant expert and national coordinator, Society Network on Migration and Development. That's Reverend Father Emeka Chris Obiozu joining us via Zoom. Thank you for joining us, Reverend Father.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Let's start with the economics of migration to host communities and, of course, countries. Let's start with that.
Again, once again, thank you for having me this evening on this episode celebrating the International Migrants Day. Today, the world over celebrates a recognition of the contribution of over 280 million individuals across the world who are referred to as international migrants. They are contributors to national global development in different forms and fronts, from their local communities, country of origin, and destination countries, their host country where they are. They contribute different variable funds to those developments. Today, as we look at contribution, as I said, of local community, the country of origin, we see enormous ways that they bring their help or their assistance to the development of our country, even when they have left the country. These contributions come in terms of values as well as growth values. In terms of economic values, we look at the material money they contribute, as well as we look at the issues of quantitative development approaches they provide to their country. So in this regard, we are looking at how much their activities in their destination countries help to improve the well-being of our local communities. I just watched the last issue discussed here in terms of leveraging the economic development of the country, harnessing the potential of all expertise that. I think one critical contributor to economic development of country is the population of migrants. Within Nigerian migration space, we know that the migrants have contributed significantly in terms of the money they remit back home. We are still looking at over 22 billion US dollars after the COVID, which they have continually contributed to our country through those money they bring back home to most times their household sustenance, but also through the transactions of the exchange of this money, the country also make unbearable gain from that. And when this money are also plowed into the development system, like a structured institutional dimension to it, just like the NIDCOM, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, had established diaspora housing mortgage using the collaboration with.
Go ahead, Reverend Father. Father, if you can hear me. It looks like we might have lost Reverend Father Chris there. Can you hear me, Father?
Yes, I can hear you.
We lost you for a moment, but let me quickly ask you, building on what you've just said, despite all these contributions that migrants are known for, they still face a series of challenges. Why is this? And how can these challenges be addressed?
Hello, I can hear you. Come again, please.
Now, building on what you've just said, migrants still face, despite their contributions, migrants across the world still face a series of challenges. Why is this, and how can they be addressed? For instance, the issue of racism and other related challenges. Why is this, and how can these challenges be addressed?
Yes. Within the notable contributions of migrants, there's also, by the side of it, is the abominable inhuman conditions these migrants operate under, especially in terms of abuse of their human rights. I think one of the reasons why they experience all these challenges will be disregarding their human rights and considering them as the other, using them as tools of economic development at the expense of the exploitative approaches of the capitalist system that value their contribution rather than their humanity or their identity. So in those cases, issues of human rights of migrants are not brought up in discussions and when they're harnessing or when they're talking about the contribution of migrants. And so when we look at all those issues, we see beginning from recruitment, the recruitment of these migrant workers. Some of them are recruited using unfair recruitment issues. They don't have the full information of the migration route or the migration cycle itself. They don't also have all the details of contracts they are signing. They don't have protection of the terrain where they work. Sometimes when unlicensed recruitment agencies facilitate this type of movement, they now expose them to most of this exploitation in the hands of their Yes.
So some of these are just a few of the issues, which I'm sure there are many more. And we look forward to inviting you to tell us more so that we can expand these issues. Thank you very much, Reverend Father Emeka Chris Obiozo.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
I've been speaking with migrant expert, Reverend Father Emeka Chris Obiozo, on issues relating to migration and the Japa syndrome, notably in the area of challenges which migrants face despite their contributions. Do stay tuned. This is the Network News on NTA. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying tuned. President Bola Tinubu has reassured the public of his administration's commitment to being transparent while upholding media freedom and respect for opinions of Nigerians through the media. President Tinubu said this when he received members of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN, at the State House. Reacting to the association's requests, which include review of policies affecting the paper industry, the president assured the members that he would carefully consider the existing legislation and regulations hindering the development of the sector.
Nigeria to invest in the paper industry to produce what we need, what we can consume here, and what we can export to other countries from Nigeria. We cannot grant tax waivers yet, and we have to look at the legislation, out of that. What we're trying to do because of the people.
President Tinubu, who also spoke on the challenges faced by travelers during the festive season, said the federal government is taking measures to alleviate the high cost of transportation during the Yuletide.
That might help those traveling by air, by rail, or if possible by road, continue to reinvigorate the economy, re-engineer the economy, retool the economy. It is exceptionally necessary for us to really invest in infrastructure today, to invest in the health care of our people, to invest in education of our children today and tomorrow. It's a continuous exercise. That's what I've been doing. Each day you tweak with this, think out of the box, think vigorously to deliver for Nigeria.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who enjoined the association to collaborate with the Tinubu administration, reiterated federal government's commitment to fostering a vibrant and responsible media landscape in the country.
Writers Association of Nigeria to collaborate very closely with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in advancing our shared values.
Are also part of the building blocks of democracy, reliable sources of information in a world that is overwhelmed by fake news. The survival of the newspaper, therefore, is good for our industry, is good for the economy, and it's good for democracy.
Away from media matters, drug tests during military screening of recruits. That's the new order for those wanting to defend the nation's integrity. The Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa made this known on a visit to the Chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Muhammad Buba Marwa, commending the NDLEA and giving assurance that the military would fully support the renewed war against illicit drugs.
We will not shield anybody. We have made a number of arrests while in the northeast. Our checkpoints and all of, we pick them up and we prosecute them. We kept standing court martials. Anybody that is found guilty must pay for it. And we try to do rehabilitation. Part of our recruitment process and courses, you must take drug tests. Because we want to ensure that whoever we have in the armed forces is doing the right thing, is in the right frame of mind.
The NDLEA in the last 3 years has convicted more than 6,000 criminals, seized more than 20,000 tons of illicit drugs, and promised to expand its drug demand reduction program.
They are central to criminalities. It is for this reason that the NDLEA have been very ferocious and aggressive in denying these criminals access and availability of illicit substances. NDLEA were ever ready to continue our collaboration, if not intensify it, towards drug demand reduction in the barracks.
The NDLEA chairman also praised the military for supporting the agency's deep raid operations of forests across the country. Similarly, the Nigeria Police Force has successfully rescued 134 kidnapped victims and arrested 375 kidnappers and 578 armed robbery suspects in various operations across the country in the last 3 months. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, made this known at the end-of-year Strategic Management Conference in Abuja. Francis Fom was there for NTA News.
This is the last Senior Police Management Conference for year 2023. The conference is also expected to deliberate on the various security issues, express some of the challenges they experienced, and proffering solutions with a view to fulfilling their constitutional mandate of protecting lives and property. Another major success story recorded by the force is the arrest of some of the suspects involved in the deadly Otupo Bank robbery and the killers of a other divisional police officer.
The daredevil armed robbers were traced to their hideouts, where 2 of them were neutralized, while 4 were arrested and are currently in custody, assisting police investigators to track down others at large.
The conference is also another opportunity to chart a way forward.
Intelligence-led policing will remain a cornerstone of our efforts, and I urge you all to boost your intelligence capacity and leverage on cutting-edge technology to dismantle criminal elements terrorizing our communities.
IGP Egbetokun also reminded the strategic managers that the ULITITE presents new challenges and responsibilities, and it is their duty to ensure that citizens celebrate in an atmosphere of peace and security. He enjoins the officers to intensify their patrols and embrace other crime-fighting strategies. Francis from NTA News.
And just in, a resolution has been agreed on to resolve the political crisis in Rivers State following a meeting convened by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A statement signed by those concerned resolved the following. All matters instituted in the courts by the Governor of Rivers State, Simi Fubara, and his team in respect of the political crisis in Rivers State shall be withdrawn immediately. All impeachment proceedings initiated against the Governor of Rivers State by the Rivers State House of Assembly should be dropped immediately. The leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly, as led by Right Honorable Martin Amewuli, shall be recognized alongside 27 members who resigned from the PDP. The remunerations and benefits of all members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and their staff must be reinstated immediately, and the Governor of Rivers State shall henceforth not interfere with the full funding of the Rivers State House of Assembly. The Rivers State House of Assembly shall choose where it wants to sit and conduct legislative business without interference or hindrance from the executive arm of government. The Governor of Rivers State, Simi Fubara, shall represent the state budget to a properly constituted Rivers State House of Assembly. The names of all commissioners in the Rivers State Executive Council who resigned their appointments because of the political crisis in the state should be resubmitted to the House of Assembly for approval. There shall not be a caretaker committee for the local governments in Rivers State. The dissolution of the local government administration is null and void and shall not be recognized. Now to education, science education, notably nursing. And the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria has inducted 340 foreign-trained graduates of nursing science with the Mariam Abacha American University of Niger, accounting for 212 of the inductees. The 11th in a series of foreign-trained nurses. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
The inductees who graduated from foreign institutions in 17 countries and had their adaptation program at nursing departments in 12 Nigerian universities were inducted at the magnificent twin lecture theater of the Mariam Abacha American University of Nigeria.
I'm also delighted, the list of the things we expected, that's what happened today.
Mariam Abacha is one of the best universities you can ever find yourself in.
So this school is well recommended, it's amazing, it has helped us through our journey, and now we are here.
Registrar of the Council, Dr. Farooq Umar Abubakar, who congratulated the newly inducted nurses, reminded them of their responsibilities as healthcare providers and charged them to live up to the demands of the profession.
In line with the renewable agenda of the present administration, the Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health has approved that and directed all the teaching hospitals that are yet to commence basic training of nursing and the paramedical centers as a matter of directive immediately in order to mitigate the effect of migrations of nurses.
President of the Maun Group of Universities, Professor Adamu Abubakar Gwarzo, stressed the increasing demand for nursing profession in Nigeria in view of the valuable contributions in the promotion of the healthcare system in the country.
Let me use this opportunity and tell you thank you for making us proud, and we are going to make you also proud. I'm going to give you a free scholarship of
President of Mariam Abacha American University, Kano, Nigeria, Professor Muhammad Israr, who acknowledged the contributions of the foreign-trained nurses, also tasked them to bring their expertise and experience from around the world to the healthcare system. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Still on science, the National Agency for Science, Engineering and Infrastructure, NASENI, has signed an agreement with 11 organizations for the implementation of the Delta II project, a technology transfer and information exchange program between Nigeria and the Czech Republic. Chimdima Undubisi reports that $21.7 million is being disbursed for the program, which targets research, development and innovation in agriculture, mining and general manufacturing for micro, small and medium enterprises.
Countries of the world are leveraging technology and talent to attain prosperity. Nigeria is on this ship as it thrives towards industrialization. So, in 2014, the nation and the Czech Republic entered a bilateral cooperation codenamed Delta II program that will see technology transfer between the two countries. 285 Nigerian science and technology research institutions and companies applied for the implementation of the program, but 11 emerged from the 6 geopolitical zones. From January 2024, these 11, in partnership with Czech Republic organizations, are expected to swing into action so as to turn out new applicable research findings, innovations, and marketable products and services that will impact positively on farmers, miners, and micro, small and medium enterprises. Nigerian Technology Agency of the Czech Republic will provide funding for 12 to 36 months.
Every 1 naira that Nigerian will be investing into this phase of Delta II program to develop new projects, we will realize 6 naira in commercial returns. Of course, in addition to the jobs that will be created and the capacity building and technology transfer.
The outputs of the project are expected to yield patents, pilot plants, proven technologies, softwares, certified methodologies, processes and specialized maps, and database, among others. The resulting technologies from these collaborations will be transferred and domesticated in Nigeria through Naseni.
In another development, Naseni has signed a production license agreement with an Indonesian company, Saputra, for the establishment of a coal fertilizer manufacturing plant in Nigeria. This is an eco-friendly and latest fertilizer technology that guarantees food security. The agreement is for the supply of machinery and equipment for producing coal-based fertilizer in Nigeria, training of Nigerians on use and maintenance, as well as licensing that permits Nigeria to produce coal-based fertilizer, the Saputra standard. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
Still on technology, better connectivity with audience. That's the advantage which the digital age provides. But to remain relevant, the broadcast industry must leverage advanced technology to create content which resonates with every segment of society. That's the central point made by the Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, while seeking collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission. Joseph Otsen has the details.
Two major pillars of the broadcasting landscape meet with a mind to shape the nation's narrative by utilizing the digital space. Creative storytelling, fresh ideas, and artistic expression on enhancing Nigeria's diversity to the Director General Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, can give audience a sense of belonging and appreciation of what they have in stock as a country.
Nigeria is a tapestry of culture, languages, and perspectives. As broadcasters, we have the responsibility to reflect this rich diversity in our programming. By doing so, we not only celebrate our cultural heritage, but also create content that resonates with every segment of our society.
The digital age has multiple advantages, but also excesses that can send many astray. Director General National Broadcasting Commission, Charles Ebuebu, believes NTA can help the Commission by modeling Nigerians and media houses with its professionalism.
So even for us as the NBC, we've had to do a rethink on what kind of regulations we would have in place, how we would be able to manage the excesses of the media age. So it is a big responsibility, and I believe you are up to that responsibility.
The new age is critical, with technology, creativity and inclusivity holding the key to success in broadcasting. And these two major gatekeepers are ready to serve as a guide. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Still to come, education, business and gender issues right after some messages. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. Kaduna State is integrating women in procurement procedure as part of steps to promote gender balance in government businesses through sensitization of women on gender-responsive entrepreneurship. Jamila Abubakar reports that the initiative is a product of collaboration between Kaduna and United Nations Women. That's the Kaduna Public Procurement Authority and United Nations Women.
Gender disparity has been a major setback in business of governance, particularly as it affects certain policies. Kaduna State is not an exception, as stakeholders are making efforts to close the gender disparity gaps. Procurement process and procedure is key element to the ongoing reforms taking place in governance. This compelling need prompted the sensitization for women to understand the rudiments of procurement and instill financial prudence in the process.
Prior to this time, I didn't know much about bidding, and I thought bidding and procurement is meant for men and those in government. But they've been able to put us through every angle. I'm calling on all women who have business in Kaduna State, and even women that don't have business. I'm calling on the housewife, I'm calling on the married women, I'm calling on the young girls. So long as you are a woman in Kaduna State, the room is open for you.
Speakers at the event identified limited access to information and financial resources as a major impediment and called for a stronger commitment to the cause.
I feel that, women should focus in private sector where they can get decent income. You don't have to beg. You don't have to compromise yourself.
You empower a woman, you are empowering a nation. So with this in mind, that's why we want women to come forward. And we're trying to do all the legislation, all the necessary documentation to see that we get to ensure
that we're able to train women in businesses around the public procurement process, give them information, let them know how to bid, and also let them know how to actually participate across the several levels of the procurement guidelines.
Empowering women is essential to the health and social development of families and communities, as they will contribute their skills to the workforce and reach their full potentials. In Kaduna, Jamila Abubakar, NTA News.
We won't be joining Michael in Lagos as earlier announced, but let's connect with Musa Abubakar on business news instead. Musa?
Thank you, Naja. As the global financial sector continues to face threats of cyber attacks, Nigeria is not exempted as banks in the country continue to deploy technology and capacity building to confront the menace.
Okay, so it's an ongoing thing, and let me let you know, banks are not down. They are taking frontal strategies to confront this. It's something that is evolving all over the world. These hackers and this cybercrime are ahead of the practitioners and also the regulators. But what has happened, I just want to give you assurance that capacity training program is going on a regular basis. CIBN continue to make this as a major responsibility for banks as much as possible.
And to capital market, equities market closed first week day of trading bullish as investors began the week with a positive sentiment at the end of the session. The all-share index gained 0.02% to close at 72,404.91 basis point. A total of 324 million shares in 6,745 deals corresponding to a market value of 4.3 billion naira were traded compared with the previous NGX trading day. Today's data shows 6% improvement in volume, 33% decline in turnover, but 12% improvement in deals. Equity capitalization climbed to 39.6 trillion naira as the session ended with Mutual Benefits Assurance PLC, UBA, and Transcorp as the top trades. Well, the news continues after the break.
That's our package for the night. But before we go, remember that you can watch the replay live on our YouTube channel. Thanks for staying tuned. I'm Najaa Atutijani.